What's up, guys? It's me, Will, and we're going back to TV, man. We're tackling DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Season 2. It just wrapped up. It's the first out of the 4 DC shows to wrap up this year. So we're going to tackle, I'm going to do a little bit of a retrospective and just my final thoughts on the season and where it could potentially go in Season 3. So let's just jump into it.
Knock, knock, open up the door. It's Will.
So like I said, guys, we are tackling DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Season 2. There's a lot of cool Easter eggs and some major plot points that are going to be tackled in this retrospective review or whatever. So if you haven't seen that, I totally recommend you get to Netflix or the CW app or the CW TV, or if you watch it illegally, no judgment here, but as long as you plan on buying the DVDs, just help them out, guys. Come on, because they provide a good service and they provide a good TV show. Wonderful cast. They definitely deserve it. But there's going to be spoilers here, so if you're not a fan of that, as much as I would appreciate the views, you need to get out of here, because I don't want to hear a comment like 5 minutes into this video. Oh no, I didn't know that Everman was gonna die. Oh god. I don't want to hear any of that bullshit. So without further ado, let's get into it. So this is Tomorrow Season 2. If you remember the cliffhanger from Season 1, I mean, a lot of you actually watched my video on Season 1, which surprises me. We had the cliffhanger of Our Man showing up. Apparently Mick Rory sent him. That's Heatwave. And they're like, oh, who the hell are you? Like, why'd you bring the Waverider here? Like, what's going on? The Justice Society of America actually came to warn them, like, hey, don't come back to the present. Like, things are going to get messed up. Get to meet the Justice Society of America, and all the legends go their separate ways and go to different time periods to hide out from some major threat. That's pretty much resolved. We get a newcomer, Steel. I love him so much. He's a fucking nerd, and I love it. He's like a historian about all this stuff. I feel like most of the season I was jumping between if I was him or Ray this season, because like when they would nerd out and have conversations, I'm going like, oh my god, like this is me. This is so me. And speaking of that, this season they just, for lack of a better term, they just didn't give a flying fuck about continuity, the timeline, aberrations, all that stuff. They stress that they're caring about that stuff, but they mess with time so much that I'm surprised, like, the doctor from Doctor Who didn't show up and goes, oh, bloody hell, what'd he do? And I'm like, wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey. It feels like that. It just feels wibbly-wobbly, and they don't care. They just like, oh, hey, let's tell a good self-contained story, and let's just do, like, our own season. We'll wrap it up by the end with our MacGuffin this season. We saw everybody in different time periods, like, Sarah was seducing, like, the Queen of England. Ray was back in time with the dinosaurs. Like, there was some fun moments there. Our main antagonist this season, I mean, if you follow the news blogs or any comic book site, they pretty much straight up told you it's gonna be the Legion of Doom. We have Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash. He's trying to rewrite history to save himself because Barry went back in time and fucked things up in Flashpoint. If you haven't watched Flash, that's the only spoiler I'll tell you about Flash. And like I said, spoilers, guys. And that kind of erased him. And also with Eddie Thawne killing himself in Season 1 of Flash, more spoilers, he doesn't exist anymore because there's no Thawne bloodline to keep him alive. So he needs to get the Spear of Destiny, an ancient artifact, to rewrite history so that he can exist, or if nothing else, at least prevent himself from being erased. So that's the main MacGuffin in this. He teams up with Damon Darhk from the last season of Arrow, which, not gonna lie, he was kind of like, he's definitely a match for Arrow last season, but he just seemed really out of place in that season. I know they were trying to be more mystical and have more fun in Season 4 of Arrow, but it seemed out of place, but he, like, shines in this. He's so fucking cheesy. Like, he just came to this show, they had fun. We also get John Barrowman, Malcolm Merlin. He obviously wants to rewrite history, so his daughter and son both love him and that his son's alive. And he get his hand back because he lost his hand when he became part of the League of Assassins and we tried to become the Ra's al Ghul. We also get Captain Cold. He gets revived with the Spear of Destiny as well. I like him coming back. There's even a joke about Prison Break because in this alternate timeline, Heatwave also joins the Legion at one point because the heroes don't trust him. And they're going like, oh, hey, you want to go back to prison and we can like break out like we used to? And he's like, no, sounds boring, which is even funnier now because they're rebooting Prison Break or they're doing like a spin-off of it. And I just like, wow, like funny timing there because it just came back and it was just really funny. And speaking of that alternate timeline, that whole Doom world, I'm jumping around here. I ramble. You guys know this. But I love this whole alternate timeline because Star Labs looks like the Legion of Doom's headquarters from the old Super Friends cartoons. Damon Darhk has like masks and like trophies of all the superheroes. I mean, I'm sad to see that all of our superheroes are dead, but like I like seeing some of the alternate heroes. Like even Felicity became a superhero, and she's usually just a hacker. But we get to see most of our heroes in like jobs that they wouldn't actually be doing. We get to see kind of a role reversal of Jefferson Jackson bossing around Professor Stein to build a new particle accelerator. There's a lot of fun new things. Like, if anything, if you haven't seen any Legends episodes and you kind of want to see like the kind of tone and fun stuff you can have in this season, totally watch that. Or if nothing else, watch some of season 1 because they definitely took it a bit more serious last season. But this one, Rip Hunter is just straight up missing in this season, and they end up finding him, and he's making a TV show about his life. It almost looks like an old Doctor Who thing. But his main assistant in this is George Lucas, and if Rip keeps making his things, this guy ends up not. His assistant George Lucas doesn't even end up making Star Wars, and all the nerdy guys in the group start forgetting like how much they love science because Star Wars doesn't exist. And that was a really fun episode. And for all you Lord of the Rings fans, we actually get to meet young J.R.R. Tolkien in this too, back in the war to help him. They need his help to read Aramaic to get the Spear of Destiny to even work. So that was a little fun little Easter egg, and just like some of the lines and stuff that happened in that episode are like allude to Lord of the Rings, and like we'll probably go to his future writing. That was a fun episode. Besides that, some of the other historical figures they meet aren't really like too crazy. I think we get to see Jonah Hex again at one point, which I'm always down for more Jonah Hex. He's not my favorite, but I love when that we go visit people back in the DC universe. And I predicted this early on in the season. I predicted we were going to see an evil Rip. I almost thought he was going to be the reason the Legion of Doom comes together. But no, they actually rewrite his memories to make him evil, and he's actually pretty formidable foe against the Legion. It's pretty crazy. And with him going evil and him like being gone most of the season, someone else has to step into the role of captain. There's a little pissing contest with everybody in the group trying to become the new leader. But eventually, Katie Lotz as Sarah Lance actually steps up and shines in this role, and she does a pretty good job. Like I'll try not to gush over her too much because I have a big man crush. Not a big man crush. I'm a man and I have a crush on her. She's really pretty, and I'm not gonna lie. She is the one true Canary. Everyone else who's been Black Canary since hasn't really came up to the plate. Even her own sister. I love Katie Cassidy, but I didn't like the costume or her doing like Pilates and that suddenly she's a superhero. I didn't like that. But the new one in season 5 of Arrow, which we'll talk about eventually at the end of the year. Pretty solid, a pretty good successor so far, but I liked her in the role. And even at the end of the season, Rip actually ends up leaving, and she's in charge right now. I kind of wonder if like Arthur Darville is going to come back, or if that's going to be a plot point next season with him coming back, or seeing if he can redeem himself. That would be pretty cool. We also get a newcomer in Vixen. She was part of the Justice Society of America. It's not the same Vixen that we had in Arrow. This is her great-great-grandmother, her grandma. And we get to see her chemistry with everybody, and just seeing like she brings up like her working with the Justice Society and kind of compares it to the Legion, because the Legion was kind of like in disarray. This is before like Sarah got into like full captain mode, and it was just a cool way to compare and contrast how they did things, and just seeing how old-fashioned they were. I'm like I said, I jumped around. I tackled all the things of note that I can remember off the top of my head, but this is a pretty fun season. The whole Spear of Destiny thing, I'm glad that came to a head towards the end. And before the season ends, we get 2 teams of legends. One who came from the alternate timeline, going back in time to prevent things from happening. And there's so many crazy things going on that they break a lot of rules. And eventually, they fix things, but then they go back to 2017, and there's dinosaurs, there's weird kinds of technology and bullcrap, and we're kind of left at the cliffhanger going, guys, I think we broke time. I'm like, oh my god, that's so nuts. Some things I would like to see come from Season 3. If they're going to continue to have fun, just please continue to have fun. I don't try to have a serious episode and then like do 2 or 3 episodes where we meet like, oh, hey, here's Stanley Kubrick, or he knows something about this thing, or oh, hey, here's the Legion of Superheroes. That's one thing I want to see, the Legion of Superheroes. That'd be so cool. We just met the Justice Society. Let's move into the future. Let's see some future superheroes, because the Legion of Superheroes is really awesome. Maybe in this alternate timeline, they can say, oh, hey, like we really took to Supergirl's influence, even though she doesn't live in this universe a whole lot. Oh, when she came here, she made a big impression. We love her, and blah, blah, blah. Or they can say, oh, hey, Arrow and Flash, like really started everything. I would like to see how Greg Berlanti and his universe would tackle the Legion of Superheroes, or just to see which ones they would pick, because they tackle the Justice Society and their costumes pretty well for their budget. Also, I would like to see Booster Gold. Come on, we're time traveling. We don't have Booster Gold and Skeets. Andy's really excited. You love Booster Gold, don't you? Booster Gold is pretty cool. We don't have Batman. I don't think we're going to get Batman, but Batman Beyond, if we're going to do future superheroes, that would be cool. Or maybe even the Justice League Unlimited. Even just alluding to a bit, maybe there being an actual future Justice League, maybe like having like a future daughter of Sarah, or like an alternate group of legends that they have to like fight with. I don't know. There's just a lot of cool things they could do. I don't know what the main plotline would be or who the main villain would be. I haven't been doing much research because I don't want things spoiled for me. Because I pretty much had a lot of fun this season. I didn't really look into too much. I saw a few things, and I saw John Barrowman at Cincy Comic Con, or not Cincy Comic Con, Cincy Comic Expo. And he talked about a few plot points like the Legion and all that stuff. But besides that, like, I was pretty surprised with some stuff. And I liked to see the fun direction that we were taking instead of the whole serious thing with Vandal Savage. I really liked this season. If I had to give it a rating, which I will, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. It's pretty solid. It's pretty fun. You know what? 3.5 out of 5. We'll do 3.5 out of 5. I've changed my mind a little bit. It's actually pretty solid. It's pretty average. It's not like the best thing on TV, but it was a good time. If you liked the Justice League cartoon, or if you've been liking what the Greg Berlanti universe has been doing, check out Legends of Tomorrow. It's really fun, and it's probably, and if nothing else, the episodes you have to catch up on aren't really that long. I think the only thing you would maybe need to watch prior to this out of the other shows is the setup for this and the two-parter, the crossover in Flash and Arrow, and last season. You need to check those out to set this up. But besides that, like, I think you're pretty set, guys. It's a pretty good time. And yeah, 3.5 out of 5. But what do you guys think? Is there anything I missed about Legends of Tomorrow that I should have tackled? Let me know in the comments below. And what was your favorite episode, or who was your favorite legend? Let me know in the comments below. You might win a DVD set of Legends tomorrow. I can't guarantee that, but if you comment, I'll make it worth your while. But that's about it for me, guys. Like always, press that like button and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And as always, guys, when there's a will, there's a way. And thanks for watching.